Jace wasn't supposed to be here. Nobody came to the Ashlands voluntarily. This dead zone was a place of radiation and forgotten memories of a war most wanted to erase. But Jace was a scavenger, and scavengers couldn't be choosy. He needed parts, power cores, processors, anything the war had left behind to keep his small ship running. Without it, he had nothing. Something glinted in the distance, catching his eye. He squinted through his visor, adjusting the settings. Metal, large piece, could be valuable as he approached. The shape became clearer. Not just scrap, an escape pod. Alien design, crash-landed and half-buried in the dirt. Its surface burned and twisted into unnatural shapes. Most scavengers would already be calculating its worth in parts, but Jace froze. Because he saw something else. Movement. Just a flicker, so slight he almost missed it. He raised his scanner, pulse quickening as he pointed it toward the wreckage. The screen beeped twice, then displayed a reading that made his heart skip. Life signs detected. Critical. Drawing his sidearm. Caution was what kept scavengers alive. Jace approached slowly. Then he heard it. A sound so faint it could have been the wind. A whimper. A cry. He holstered his weapon and rushed forward, dropping to his knees beside the pod. The metal was still warm as he peeled back a heavy, twisted panel and peered inside. His breath caught in his throat. Two small figures lay huddled in the darkness, their bodies thin and fragile, covered in dust and dried blue-silver blood. They looked like children, but clearly not human. Their skin was a soft blue, almost pale gray in the dim light. Their eyes, large, almond-shaped, glowed weakly. One was curled protectively around the other, arms wrapped tight, as if their embrace alone could save them. They were alive. Barely. "Hey," Jace whispered, his voice cracking from disuse. "It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you." The slightly larger one, he guessed the older of what appeared to be twins, opened her eyes wider. Her lips trembled as she whispered something in a language his ears couldn't comprehend. Then her eyes rolled back, and she fainted. Jace didn't think twice. He didn't pause to consider the risks or the value. In that moment, he was no longer a scavenger. He was simply human. He reached in and gathered them up, one in each arm. They were shockingly light, as if their bones were hollow. "I've got you," he murmured, carrying them to his crawler, a small armored vehicle parked nearby. "Just hang on." As he drove back to his camp, he kept glancing at them in the passenger seat where he'd carefully arranged them. "Twins," he whispered to himself. "They're just kids. What are they doing out here alone?" Back at camp, Jace worked through the night. He cleaned their wounds with gentle hands, using his last medical gel, expensive stuff he'd been saving for an emergency. He gave them water in small sips, wrapped them in thermal blankets, and monitored their breathing. They didn't speak. They barely moved. And Jace didn't sleep. He just watched over them, keeping his weapon close in case something came searching for what he'd found. When morning broke across the Ashlands, the older twin opened her eyes again. She stared at him in silent assessment, her gaze unreadable but intense. Fear, confusion, perhaps hope, all seemed to dance behind those luminous eyes. Then she looked at her sister. With movements so deliberate they seemed ritualistic, she sat up and placed a hand on her sister's chest. The younger twin stirred and coughed weakly. Alive, Jace couldn't help but smile. "You're safe now," he said. They couldn't understand his words, but they seemed to feel the intention behind them. His voice was kind, gentle, perhaps the first kindness they'd known in a long time. Later, he offered them food. Simple fare, soft fruit and protein cubes. Standard rations, but the best he had. The twins hesitated, exchanging glances. Then, with trembling hands, they accepted his offering. The moment the food touched their lips, something changed. They ate with desperate speed, cramming the food into their mouths as if it might disappear. "Easy," Jace cautioned, concerned they'd make themselves sick. "There's plenty more." The older twin paused, her cheeks bulging with food. She tried to speak, but her voice was weak and strange, her vocal cords clearly struggling with human sounds. Still, she managed 2 words that struck Jace deep in his chest. "Thank you." He nodded slowly. "You're welcome." That night, as the fire crackled low and the wind howled beyond the camp walls, Jace lay on his cot, thoughts churning. Who were these children? Where'd they come from? Why had they been abandoned in an escape pod in the deadliest region of the planet? A whisper of movement startled him from his thoughts. He sat up quickly. The older twin stood beside his cot, her silver eyes wide open, reflecting the dying firelight. Her face was unnervingly blank, devoid of emotion. Jace shifted uncomfortably. "Are you okay?" he asked. She didn't answer immediately. She just stared, unblinking. Then she whispered something in her alien tongue, a sound that seemed too ancient for her young frame. And then, in broken English, "You shouldn't have saved us." Before Jace could respond, she turned and walked back to where her sister slept. They curled together again, two broken pieces finding wholeness in each other's arms. Jace didn't sleep again that night. Those words echoed in his mind. "You shouldn't have saved us." Not, "Thank you for saving us," or "Why did you save us?" but a warning. His heart was heavy with questions. Who were these twins? Why were they left to die? And what did she mean by those words? The fire burned low, and the stars above remained hidden behind thick gray clouds. In the stillness of the Ashlands, Jace felt the first ripple of something far bigger than he could imagine. He thought he had saved them. But maybe, just maybe, they were going to change everything. Morning came with unnatural stillness. Jace woke with a strange feeling in his chest, the kind that tells you something's wrong before your eyes confirm it. He looked over at the twins' makeshift bed. Empty, his heart racing, he grabbed his jacket and stepped outside the tent. The Ashlands stretched before him, gray and lifeless. His boots crunched in the dry dirt as he scanned the horizon. Then he saw them, both twins on the far side of camp near his food supply crates. But something was wrong. They weren't eating. They were just staring at the food, sniffing it with confused expressions, as if it wasn't what they expected. "Hey," Jace called, approaching slowly. "You two okay?" The older twin turned to look at him, her lips moving without sound. The younger one reached out and touched a sealed protein pack, then made a sound. Not the whimper of a hungry child, but a low growl that raised the hair on Jace's arms that he stopped walking. The air felt heavy, electric, like a storm building without clouds. Kneeling down to their level, he spoke gently. "You're safe here. You need food. Eat." The older twin finally spoke, her voice flat. "T not eat." Jace blinked. "What do you mean?" "You ate yesterday." The girl looked at him, her head tilting slightly. "We taste, but it was empty." Jace felt a chill creep up his spine. He looked at the open food containers. Everything was arranged perfectly, undisturbed, as if they'd never touched it. Yet he'd watched them eat. He'd seen them chewing, swallowing. "How are you not starving?" he whispered. The older twin moved closer to him. Slowly, deliberately, she reached out and touched his hand. The moment their skin connected, Jace felt a sudden, sharp pull in his chest, like something reaching inside him and taking hold. Images flashed through his mind. Burning cities, strange alien stars, something ancient and dark lurking at the edges of his consciousness. Then, silenced out, he jerked his hand away, gasping. The twin collapsed, and Jace lunged forward, catching her before she hit the ground. Her body was warm, but unnaturally light. Her eyes fluttered open, meeting his. "We are bound," she said softly. "Now you must feed us." Hours passed like a fever dream. Jace sat alone at the edge of camp, trying to understand what was happening. The younger twin slept curled up like a cat, while the older one sat watchful beside her, always guarding. Jace kept replaying that moment in his head, the touch, the images, the feeling of something flowing between them. That wasn't normal. It wasn't just memory or telepathy. It was something else, a transfer of some kind. He looked down at his arm, where faint silver lines shimmered beneath his skin like luminescent veins. His heartbeat felt different, slower but stronger, as if something inside him was changing, adapting. He tried using his translator to decipher more of their language, but it kept returning errors. Their dialect wasn't in any database he had access to, but he did manage to translate two words that kept appearing in their whispered conversations: soul, binding. That night, Jace cooked again: meat, dried fruits, boiled water. He laid it all out and waited. The twins approached silently, but again, they didn't touch the food. "Please," Jace said, offering a protein cube directly to the older twin. "You need strength." She looked at him for a long moment, her large eyes unreadable. Then, Instead of taking the food, she knelt before him and placed her small hands on his chest. "No more pretending," she said in a soft, broken whisper. "We need you." And then her skin began to glow, a soft silver light that pulsed in rhythm with Jace's heartbeat. Her sister, still silent, began to glow too. The light wrapped around Jace like fog, enveloping him. He fell to his knees, not from pain but from something deeper, the bond completing itself. In that moment, he saw inside them. He saw their past, floating alone in an abandoned ship, locked away by their own kind. He saw their hunger, not for food but for energy, for life. They were not monsters, but they were something different, something forgotten, something made long ago and then hidden from the galaxy. Living batteries, soul binders, energy-tied twins created to awaken powers lost to time. And now they had chosen him. Jace gasped and opened his eyes. The glow was gone. The twins were sleeping peacefully beside him, their breathing synchronized. He checked his pulse, normal, but his body felt different, stronger, quieter. More aware, he caught sight of his reflection in a metal plate. For just a second, his eyes glowed with a faint silver light. His hand trembled. What had they done to him? What had he become? And the most terrifying thought of all, why did it feel so right? The sky over the Ashlands turned blood red the next morning, not from the sun, but from smoke. Something was burning in the distant hills. Jace stood on top of his crawler, scanning the horizon with enhanced vision he didn't have yesterday. Dark shapes moved in the distance, too big to be animals, too methodical to be natural. Something was coming, but Jace's mind was elsewhere. He kept hearing the twins' voices in his head, even when they didn't speak. Inside the camp, the twins sat in eerie silence. The older one carved strange symbols into the dirt with a broken metal shard. The younger one watched Jace's every move, as if memorizing him. "I need answers," he said, approaching them, in a reply. "You too. You touched me. You changed something. What did you do to me?" Still silence. Then the older twin looked up. "We told you. We are bound." "I didn't agree to anything," Jace said, voice low. "But your soul did," she whispered. Those words made Jace freeze. "What are you?" The older twin stood and brushed the dust from her simple clothes. Her eyes met his, steady and ancient. "We are not born. We were made," she said. "Long ago, by our creators." Jace frowned. "Clones." She shook her head. "Keys." "Keys to what?" The younger twin finally spoke, her voice surprisingly gentle. "To the old machines. The star vaults. The things your kind call myths." Jace stepped back, his mind reeling. "You're talking about the arc relics. The god tech." The older twin nodded. "Our blood opens them. Our hunger feeds them. But we need an anchor, a living soul." "You mean me?" Jace whispered. "Why was I chosen?" "You were kind," she said simply, when others would have walked away. Jace sat down heavily on a broken crate, his head spinning with implications. He remembered the old stories, legends from before the war, before humanity left Earth. Whispers of alien technology hidden across the stars, gates that could fold space, engines that could build planets, weapons that could extinguish suns. All locked away, all lost, and no one had ever found the keys, until now. "Why were you left to die in the Ashlands?" he asked. The younger twin's smile faded. "Our creators feared us." The older one added, "We were born with a twin link. Too strong. We became unstable. They called us cursed, so they abandoned you. They feared what we could awaken," the older twin said softly. "But they forgot. Fear can't erase truth." Jay stood up, pulse racing. He looked at the transmitter near his crawler. If he could get a signal out, someone would come, someone from Earth Command who could handle this. Someone who would know what to do with ancient alien technology and the living keys designed to control it. He walked to the panel and powered it on. Static crackled, then sparks flew. The screen flickered and went black. Jace stared at it. "No." He tried again. Nothing. Behind him, he heard the younger twin whisper, "We can't let them find us." Jace whirled around. "You destroyed the signal?" The older one shook her head. "No, it is the bond. We are not meant to be tracked. Your machines fail when they try." Jace clenched his fists, feeling trapped. "I'm a human. I have duties, rules. I can't just disappear into myths. You already have, said the older twin calmly. That night, Jace dreamed. He stood on a dark planet, its sky full of shattered moons. A massive gate towered before him, covered in alien symbols that pulsed with inner light. The twins stood beside him, their hands glowing, eyes shining like stars. The gate opened. Light poured out, and a voice echoed across the cosmos. Welcome, soul bearer. The twin bond is complete. Jace woke with a gasp, his hands glowing silver. He rushed outside, heart pounding. The twins were already there, waiting by the fire. You saw it, said the older twin. You're ready, added the younger. Jace fell to his knees. What have you made me into? He whispered. The older twin knelt beside him and gently placed her hand over his heart. We didn't make you, she said. We only revealed what was already inside. And for the first time, Jace felt it, a power humming within him. Old, silent, waiting. But far away, in the smoking hills, something else waited too. A probe watched from the shadows, recording everything. It blinked once, then sent a silent signal to the orbiting warship above. Target confirmed. The twins have awakened. The human is now a threat. The morning air bit colder than before. Jace stood at the edge of the Ashlands, staring at his hands. His fingers trembled, not from fear, but from something moving beneath his skin. Silver lines, faint like glowing roots, spread slowly across his palms. He pulled on his gloves and turned back toward camp. The twins waited for him, their faces solemn. They never smiled. The older one spoke first. It has started. Jace nodded. I can feel it. His heart beat slower now, but stronger. He didn't need as much food. His mind felt sharper, his senses heightened. He could hear things miles away, see details that should be invisible. He was changing, but that wasn't what scared him. What terrified him was how right it felt, like finding a missing piece of himself he never knew was gone. Jay sat down with them near the fire pit. The younger twin traced a circle in the gray dust. This is the bond, she whispered. We give you the gift, but you give us something too. What do I give? Jace asked carefully. Hope, she said. The older one added. And protection. Our kind fears what we are, but they won't fear you. Not yet. That gives us a chance to move, to survive. Jace looked into her glowing eyes, searching for deceit, but finding none. Why me? You were kind when others would have walked away, she said. That's enough. But not everyone agreed. Above the Ashlands, the Earth warship Sentinel Hammer hung in low orbit, cold and watching. Inside, Admiral Cray studied the surveillance feeds with narrowed eyes. He saw Jace's glowing hands. He saw the alien twins. He saw the changes. Mutated, he said flatly that a soldier beside him shifted uncomfortably. Do we deploy ground units, sir? No, Cray said, his voice hard as steel. We erase the zone. Bomb strike in 12 hours. Prepare the drones. The order was final. Back in camp, Jace felt suddenly dizzy. The older twin helped him sit. You need to rest, she said. No, Jace replied, gritting his teeth. I need answers. The younger twin sat beside him. Her small fingers touched his chest gently, and images poured into his mind once more. A war. The fall of a race that created life with light. The twins, made as a final hope, living keys that could control ancient technology. But their creators feared what would happen if both twins bonded with a human soul. The power would be complete, unstoppable, impossible to control. Jace woke hours later, his eyes glowing brighter now, silver and gold intertwined. He could hear every sound in the Ashlands, from the rustling of dust to the crawling of sandworms deep underground. The younger twin stood beside him. It is almost time, she whispered. For what? He asked. Before she could answer, his enhanced hearing caught something, a sharp mechanical buzz. Machines. He stood in one fluid motion. Drones. Black metal drones flew toward the camp, fast and silent. Earth-armed. Inside now. Jace shouted. The twins didn't move. Do not fear, the older one said calmly. We will protect you. But Jace shook his head. No, this time I protect you. The first drone opened fire. Without thinking, Jace raised his hands. Instinct, not plan. A shock wave exploded outward, and the drone shattered midair, raining metal fragments onto the dust. Jace gasped, staring at his hands. The ground around him steamed from the energy discharge. He looked down at his body, now glowing with lines of light that ran across his arms, chest, and face. The bond was complete. The war had begun. Inside the warship above, alarms blared. Drone 1 lost. Drone 2 offline. Sir, he's resisting with unknown power. Admiral Cray clenched his jaw. He's compromised. Begin orbital lock. On the ground, Jace helped the twins into his crawler. The sky above was darkening, not from clouds, but from the outline of a warship moving into firing position. Jace turned to the twins. We need to run. The older one shook her head. We need to wake it. Wake what? The relic, she said softly. Buried under the ash. They led him into the hills behind the camp. Beneath a cracked cliffside, hidden by years of dust, was a door. Round, ancient, pulsing with slow blue light. The twins placed their hands on its surface. The door opened with a whisper, and warm air rushed out, carrying a sound like distant singing. Jace stared into the darkness beyond. What is this place? The older twin smiled for the first time, a sad, knowing smile. A cradle of forgotten power, she said. And now, your true form begins. The door closed behind them with a heavy hum. Inside the hidden vault, the air was warm and strange, filled with a scent like ozone and flowers. The walls were smooth and glowing with slow-moving lights, blue, green, gold, like veins in living stone. Jay stepped forward, his breath unsteady. The twins stood beside him, calm and watchful. This place was made before memory, the older twin said softly. It knows you, added the younger one. Jace's heartbeat echoed loudly in his ears. He wasn't just a scavenger anymore. He was something else, something the galaxy had forgotten, or maybe tried to erase. As they walked deeper, the walls responded to their presence. Lights followed their steps like curious spirits. Jace's glowing hand brushed against a panel, and it opened, revealing a chamber filled with floating metal spheres, soft humming, and a giant control throne in the center. He stepped closer. His legs felt heavy, his chest tight with pressure, like something inside wanted to break free. The twins watched quietly. You are now part of the vault, the older one said. It listens to you, but I don't know how to use it, Jace whispered. You will, the younger twin replied. You must. They're coming. Above the Ashlands, the warship Sentinel Hammer glowed hot with charge. Target locked, said the officer. Vault opening confirmed. Another reported. Admiral Cray's voice was like stone. He's chosen alien power. He's no longer one of us. The countdown began. 10 minutes until orbital strike. Goodbye, Jace, Cray whispered. Back in the vault, Jace stood before the control throne. He closed his eyes, and images poured into his mind, stars bending, worlds lost to time. And then his own face, surrounded by the twins, holding light in both hands. Suddenly, the room shook. The walls turned red with warning signals. Jace opened his eyes. What's happening? The older twin's voice was tense. They have found us. The younger twin grabbed his hand. If you don't stop them, we all burn. Jace stepped onto the throne. It wrapped around him gently, locking in place. The metal fused with his arms, chest, back, not painfully, but like a welcome embrace. His vision turned white. He saw the warship. He saw its engines charging. He saw himself standing on its bridge. And then he saw fear in Admiral Cray's eyes. Jace returned to himself. The vault was alive now, the lights bright, the machines awake. His voice echoed inside the chamber. Though he didn't open his mouth, shield us. Above the planet, the warship fired. A massive beam of white-hot energy shot down toward the vault. But halfway down, it hit something invisible and shattered like glass. The sky itself cracked with thunder. The soldiers on the ship stared in shock. Impossible, one whispered. Admiral Cray stood slowly. He knew now. Jace wasn't the victim, he was the guardian. Back in the vault, the ground rumbled. A new passage opened, leading deeper. The twins led Jace into it. The younger twin smiled faintly. You stopped the first strike, but more will come. The older one added. You can't run from your own kind forever. Jace looked at his reflection in the silver walls. His eyes were no longer human, but his heart still was. "I won't run," he said. "I'll show them what this power is really for." Outside the vault, far across the Ashlands, small ships were landing. Human troops, heavily armed, silent, fast, began moving through the dust. Their orders: capture or kill at all costs. They carried neural dampeners, anti-energy rounds, and scanners tuned to alien bonds. They were hunting one of their OW. As Jace stepped out of the vault, the Ashlands were unnaturally still. He could hear the soldiers coming. He could hear their heartbeats. The twins stood behind him. "This is the last moment to turn back," said the older one. Jace didn't move. "They think I'm a weapon," he said quietly. The younger twin touched his shoulder. "Were you really?" Jace looked up at the dark sky and answered simply, "I'm a bridge." The wind had stopped. Not a sound moved across the Ashlands, not even the dust. Jace stood at the entrance of the ancient vault, glowing softly under the dim sky. The twins waited behind him, silent and watchful. The air felt heavier now, the kind of silence that comes right before something sacred begins. He turned to the twins. "You said I was a bridge," he whispered. "Between what?" The older twin stepped forward, her voice gentle. "Between what was lost and what can still be saved." The younger added, "You carry more than our bond now. You carry memory, legacy, the gift of the forgotten ones." Jace stared at them. "I don't understand." "You will," the older said. "Follow us." They led him back through the vault, deeper than before. This place felt different, older. The walls were smoother, darker, pulsing like a heartbeat. At the end of the passage stood a large round door. Unlike the others, it wasn't glowing. It was cold, dark. Jace touched it, and it opened silently. Inside, there was no technology, no floating lights, just silence. In the center was a stone platform upon which 3 crystal coffins rested. In each one, an alien body lay still, sleeping or dead. Jace stepped closer. "Who are they?" The younger twin whispered. "Our makers." The older continued. "The first to carry the bond. The first to fall for trying to share it with humans." Jace's chest tightened. "They tried, and they died." "No," the older twin said. "They tried, and we were born." Jace knelt by the coffins. Their faces were peaceful, like the twins, but older, wiser, sadder. "I don't deserve this," he said quietly. The room trembled. A soft voice echoed. Not from the twins, not from the air, but from inside Jace himself. "That is why you were chosen." He gasped as warm light filled the chamber. The coffins glowed. The walls lit up with symbols Jace had never seen, but somehow understood. Memories flowed through him. A galaxy full of beauty and betrayal. A golden race that tried to unite all life, but was hunted for it. And then the last hope, placed in 2 small hands. 2 twin creations made from love, fear, and power. He saw himself standing beside them. Not as a master, not as a weapon, but as family. The twins knelt before him. "You are now more than human," the older one said. "You are the memory of a lost people," the younger added. "And now you must decide what to do with that gift." Jace stood. The light faded. The room returned to silence, but Jace did not. His body glowed from within. His thoughts were sharp and clear. And for the first time, he truly understood what the bond was. Not control, not power. Connection. Outside, the human strike force closed in. Drones flew ahead. A commander barked orders, "Surround the vault. Prepare for full assault." A young soldier hesitated. "Sir, and what if he's not the enemy?" "He's bonded," the commander snapped. "That makes him dangerous." But when they reached the vault entrance, they found it empty. No jefe, no twins. Just a single message carved into the ash stone wall in both human and ancient script. "If you seek war, we will not meet you. If you seek truth, follow the stars we now awaken." Jace, with the twins beside him, stood at the edge of a high cliff far beyond the Ashlands. In the distance, the sky cracked open. One of the old star relays, a forgotten alien jump gate, awakened. For the first time in 1,000 years, blue fire danced in the air. A path was opening. The younger twin smiled. "They'll follow us." Jace nodded. "Let them." The older twin asked quietly, "Are you afraid?" Jace looked up at the glowing sky. "Yes." Then why go? He smiled softly. Because fear doesn't mean stop. It means something important is about to begin. They stepped into the light. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would Jace. The stars stretched around them like rivers of fire as Jace stood at the center of the ancient star relay, silver light swirling under his feet. The twins stood beside him, one on each side, calm and glowing. They had left Earth's system behind, but Earth had not left them. Through the fading gate, a fleet of human ships followed, not to protect, but to destroy. Inside the lead warship, Admiral Cray stared at the hologram. Jace, once a scavenger, was now labeled Class X Mutation. The file said, human compromised by alien link. Extremely dangerous. Kill on sight. But the file did not say what Admiral Cray truly feared. That Jace had changed and survived. That he had bonded with something old, powerful, and unknown. That he had become moored on the other side of the stars. Jace and the twins reached a planet untouched by war. A garden world. Ancient symbols lit the ground as they walked. Relics awakened at their steps. This was the sanctuary planet, the last hidden place of the Forgotten Ones. Here, their power would be complete. Here, the final choice would be made. Jace walked among alien ruins that responded to his presence. Lights glowing, doors opening, machines humming to life after millennia of silence. The younger twin held his hand. "You are one of us now," she said. The older one looked toward the sky. "But your people will come soon." Jace nodded, "And they'll come with fear in their hearts." As predicted, the sky broke open. The human fleet arrived above the sanctuary. Fighter craft scattered like angry insects. Missile looked. The countdown began. Jace stood at the edge of the world, facing the sky. His arms shimmered with light, the ancient energy flowing through him like calm fire. He didn't want war. But he wouldn't let the twins be taken again. Admiral Cray sent a final message down. "Stand down. Surrender the alien twins. You're not their father. You are not even human anymore." Jace replied with only one line. "I wasn't their father when I found them. But they chose me, and I chose them." The first wave of missiles descended, but they never touched the ground. A pulse of silver light expanded from Jace's chest, wide as a city. Time slowed. The missiles froze midair and crumbled into dust. The human ships pulled back in panic. No one spoke. No one fired again. The older twin stepped forward. "You have passed the trial." The younger twin smiled. "You are now the keeper of our race. And your own." A massive structure rose from the ground behind them. A tower made of glass and light. At its top, a beacon activated, sending signals not just across space, but across memory. Across the bloodlines of those forgotten. Across the hearts of those still searching. Back in Earth's orbit, something happened that no one expected. One of the human ships powered down. Then another. And another. Soldiers removed their helmets, looking at the lights below. Some wept. Some whispered. He protected them. He didn't fight back. He chose peace. Cray watched, speechless. He could fire. He could end it all. But he didn't. He turned away and gave the order that would be remembered forever. "Let them go. Let him go. He's not ours anymore. And he's more." Years later, they would tell stories of a human who became something new. A soul who was chosen not because he was strong, but because he was kind. Because he bent down in the dust and picked up two dying alien girls without asking what they were. Because he loved them when the universe only offered fear. Children, both human and alien, would visit the sanctuary. In the glowing halls of the tower, a statue would stand, a human man holding the hands of two alien girls. Beneath it, only one line was carved in both languages. "Family is not born. It is chosen." And Jace, he watched the stars with the twins beside him. Not as a soldier, not as a hero, just as a father to a new kind of family, a new kind of future.